Coming up, we'll have the latest on a shooting in Perry County that left a law enforcement officer injured. Plus, more on a drug bust that police in one eastern Kentucky community are calling one of the biggest in county history. And the cleanup continues across flood-ravaged areas affected by last week's heavy rain.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 4:59 on Tuesday, June the 11th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Yesterday, gross. It was a Monday. You didn't want to go outside. It was muggy. It was rainy. It was just, we'll leave that in the past. But Brandon said just a few seconds ago, there they are, those clearing skies. Let's bring him in this morning. He's a little bit happy. Brandon, what are we looking at?
It's 5:59. Don't take us back to 4:59. You said 4:59. It's almost 6 o'clock. It's not almost 5 o'clock. Don't take us back in time this morning. Please.
5:59.
Please don't take us back.
Wait 5 seconds and it'll be 6 o'clock.
There you go. But it is clearing. You got that part right. As we take a look at the cameras this morning, we start over Hazard, and you see outside the WYMT studio some sunshine starting to work its way in over the horizon there. So good news up that way. Looking at US 119 up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain there, drying conditions as it rained just a little bit last night. Look at this. We're going to see the battle is not won yet. I was betting a while ago who was going to go to 50 or to 49 first, Somerset or Moorhead. Moorhead actually went up a couple of degrees. And we see temperatures in the low 50s across the board this morning, anywhere between 15 and 20 degrees colder, depending on where you are this morning. So that's a big change from yesterday. Appcast today, mostly sunny, beautiful conditions, mid-70s. Get out there and enjoy it. The rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, it's 6 o'clock this morning. We're continuing to follow a developing story here in Perry County from last night. Officials tell WYMT an officer was involved in a shooting. It happened off of Whole School Road near the old Fugits Entertainment Center. We know one member of law enforcement was hit. That person's condition has not been released. We do not know of any other injuries at this time. Officials have not released much information at all at this time. We will pass along more details as we get them on WYMT.com. Meanwhile, Kentucky State Police released their final report on the shooting incident that paralyzed Scott County Deputy Jamie Morales. A report back in March from the Scott County Sheriff's Office revealed that Morales was struck by a bullet from a law enforcement weapon. The shootout happened as deputies, Georgetown Police, and federal agents were trying to take Florida fugitive Edward Reynolds into custody.
Shots fired, send up EMS. Shots fired, Central, shots fired. Get EMS up to us now.
That is some scanner traffic from the September shootout. In the state police report, they detailed Morales breaking a window on a vehicle where Edwards was sitting. That is when investigators say Edwards pulled a gun and police opened fire. Edwards died. Investigators were not able to identify which officer fired the shot that injured Deputy Morales. Well, police arrested a man this weekend who was wanted for breaking into a Leslie County home and shooting a woman last month. Kentucky State Police say they arrested Richard Dickerson on Saturday inside a home in the Wooten community. Police say he faces assault, wanton endangerment, and burglary charges for the alleged crime. They were able to find Dickerson thanks to a tip someone called in.
A lot of times people will maybe be apprehensive about giving information just out of fear of maybe the perpetrator finding out and having some possible retaliation issues.
The homeowner Dickerson was staying with was also arrested. Chester Collette is charged with hindering prosecution or apprehension and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Police say the woman who was shot is still in the hospital recovering. It is week 3 in the search for a man charged with killing his girlfriend in Whitley County. Police are unable to find Nicholas Rucker despite some sightings. They say he killed 57-year-old Vicki Connor on the 22nd of May. If you see him, police say to keep your distance and to call them immediately. More than 3 pounds of meth is off the streets in what deputies call one of Knox County's biggest drug busts. Police say this all stemmed from a 2-month-long investigation. Officers believe the people arrested in connection with this are major drug dealers in the area and could even be suppliers for other drug dealers. John Helton, Nursula Anita Helton Fox, and Patsy Hopkins were all arrested on various charges. The bust took place in 2 different locations, the Gray community and the Laurel County side of Corbin. Deputies tell us it makes a major dent in the drug problem in the area.
It takes a lot of money out of a drug dealer's pocket. It's really bad stuff. We see a lot of it. We'd never ever see that much in one location. You know, it's always small amounts, and that was a large amount that we located.
Altogether, the meth is valued at nearly $35,000. 3 teens charged with raping a woman appeared in court yesterday morning. Police arrested Ronald Lees, Ryan Davis, Michael Davis, and Benjamin Brock last month. On Monday, a judge waived the first 3 cases to a grand jury. Brock's preliminary hearing was rescheduled for the 24th. Investigators say the group invited an extremely intoxicated woman to a hotel room where they filmed the rape. All 4 teens face rape and video voyeurism charges. In other news this morning, a pilot is dead after crash landing atop a Manhattan building. There were some terrifying moments in New York City after the helicopter landed on the roof of a high-rise, sparking a fire. Firefighters were on scene within minutes to put out the fire and say they could barely make out what was left of the aircraft.
We saw was a debris field that was on fire, contained to the roof, and 1 casualty.
The only person on board was the pilot. Law enforcement sources identified him as Tim McCormick, a pilot for a privately owned executive travel company. The NYPD says based on interviews, the pilot was waiting out rainy weather, but for whatever reason decided it was okay to continue flying. While the NTSB is now investigating, officials are assuring New Yorkers that they are safe. Officials have released the name of a woman killed in a Texas crane collapse on Sunday. 29-year-old Kirsten Simone Smith died after the crane fell on a Dallas apartment building. 5 other people were hurt. High winds are to blame for the collapse. Some people are being escorted in and out of the building to get their belongings. Let's switch gears now to weather. The state of downtown Prestonsburg is improving after a deadly downburst. The debris busted windows and ripped the roof from a business, killing a man. Construction is still at a standstill while crews wait for engineering reports. Many businesses are now able to open their doors once again. However, traffic is still rerouted around the construction zone. No word on when the road may reopen. Severe weather warnings have plagued states across the country. This comes as multiple deaths have been reported as a result of flooding and rising waters. Camila Bernal has the latest.
Deadly flooding across the country.
Over the weekend, we saw torrential rains that have had a serious impact on our state that we're likely to feel for several days.
In North Carolina, 3 people were killed when their car hydroplaned off the road and crashed into a tree. The car overturned into a creek with water already higher than normal, trapping the people inside.
Flooding can be dangerous and deadly. There have already been more than 80 swiftwater rescues of people.
In Tennessee, waters rose rapidly at Cummins Falls State Park when a toddler was being carried across a river by his parents. The adults made it out, but the boy died after being swept away.
We did locate a 2-year-old child that was identified as Stephen Pierce of Eddyville, Kentucky.
Authorities say floodwaters are known to rise rapidly in the area, and warnings are posted, but many attempting to evacuate were swept away.
Over the last about 18 hours, there's been a total of 64 victims that were assisted in some shape, form, or fashion by emergency crews here at the park.
And in Texas, a crane collapsed into an apartment complex Sunday, killing 1 after severe weather hit the Dallas area. Thousands were left without power. I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Now back a little bit closer to home this morning, the city of La Follette in Campbell County is working with state and national officials to assess damage there. Friday night, the city was flooded with heavy rain, leaving lots of damage in its wake. So far, the city is looking at least $500,000 in road damage. If you need to report damage from your area, you can call officials between 7:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. today and tomorrow. Elsewhere in Campbell County, one family is picking up the pieces after Friday night's flood completely moved their house, costing them everything. This picture is of MacArthur Suttle's home in La Follette. He and his wife lived there for 20 years. Along with their home being swept off its foundation, several cars were also washed away. The Suttles were not home at the time. They are living in their camper on their property for the time being. In Florida, a 71-year-old man drowned trying to save his 12-year-old grandson from high surf. Denise McCoy was at Madeira Beach Saturday when all of a sudden she heard a young boy screaming for help in the water and saw a man floating face down nearby. McCoy and her friend got in the water and started swimming towards the man. Once back on the beach, she says she and another Good Samaritan started CPR until the fire department arrived. Deputies say the grandson was not hurt and the case is still under investigation. A 4.0 magnitude earthquake was reported Monday outside of Cleveland. Officials with the U.S. Geological Survey said it was centered in Lake Erie and happened at 10:50 in the morning. Rumbling could be felt throughout northeast Ohio, including the areas near Euclid and Mentor. According to the USGS, 220 people reported feeling the earthquake. Lake County Sheriff's Office says they had not received any reports of damages. 100 firefighters put out a blaze in an apartment block in East London Sunday. There were no injuries reported, and according to the firefighters, the report states 20 flats were destroyed and 10 were damaged by heat and smoke. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire.
I'm so looking forward to giving you this forecast today because it's finally nice, it's finally dry, it's finally going to be sunny. I've got a brand new pair of sunglasses I haven't got a chance to wear yet, so I'm going to try those on today. Take a look across the region this morning here at 610, and you can see a little fog possible up near the Mountain Parkway this morning at Slade. So again, no major issues to report. Look at this beautiful scene over Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County where our transmitter is located, and again, can ask for a nicer day today. A few clouds, excuse me, starting to move out across the region, so we're going to continue to watch that. But again, for the most part, things are pretty quiet. 50 now in Somerset, 52 in Moorhead and Ashland, 51 in Monticello. Some low 50s basically across the region. Was waiting to see if anybody gets into the 40s. May not make it in our area, but did in central Kentucky, though. Looking at 75 this afternoon. It's lots of sunshine, so enjoy it. Get out there and just, again, just be outside today at some point because you're going to regret it if you don't. Will?
All righty, Brandon, appreciate it. Well, thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, a new study shows how much light you have in your area while you sleep could affect your eating habits.